What's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the US, let me know what country you're representing. Family, I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already, after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. Go on in, fam. You ain't gonna like this one at all. LaShawn Butler was just 27 years old when he was found dead in a solitary confinement jail cell in the Richmond County Jail. And once the word got out about exactly what happened, all hell broke loose. Yeah, they tried to sweep it under the rug, but thank God for black media. Yeah, thank God for the rioters, the crusaders on the streets, on the ground that said, now we're going to bring this to the forefront. We're going to let everybody know. We're going to expose y'all. Here to talk about the case is LaShawn's parents, John Matthews and Lakeisha Butler, along with their attorney, Adia Jones. Welcome to the show, everybody. Hold on, let me bring him in. My bad. Here we go. All right. Get some feedback from Lakeisha. On your end, feedback.
You say some feedback.
I'm getting feedback.
The other device is off. This is the only device that's on.
Okay. All right, let's try to power through. You know what, Lakeisha, can you mute your device until you start talking? Okay. All right, here we go. So, fam, how do we get here, Adia?
Really, it's just a situation that's been brewing for a very long time in the Richland County Jail, Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center. LaShawn was one of 3 individuals to actually die in the Richland County Jail since January 2022. And his death took place only as early as February 12th of this year. They're understaffed, they're overworked, they're overpopulated by individuals who are in there before they're even convicted of any crimes whatsoever. And we believe it's the deliberate indifference of the jail staff. It's more than negligence, right? So it's more than negligence. We believe it was the intentional behavior, almost intentional. It's almost reaching intentional behavior of the jail staff, the nursing staff, to not respond to what was going on with LaShawn Butler. And this is something that's been brewing for a very, very long time in that jail.
Yeah, listening to the case, when I heard about it, I mean, first thing that comes to your mind is heartbreak. Like, man, you feel for the family, you feel for a person, a human being, to have to go through something like that. And you say to yourself, what kind of individuals would allow something like that to happen? And when I think about it, a person, a human being treating another human being like trash, I think to myself, only somebody who is trash could treat a human being that way. Absolutely. And that's cold-blooded. That's cold-blooded what happened to this kid. John and Lakeisha, when did you guys first find out about what had happened with your son?
Well, I found out on a Saturday evening when LaShawn's grandmother called me, and we was riding, and she said that I have some news for you. I said, I hope it better be good news. She said, no, it's bad news. I'm like, what you mean bad news? She said, your son just died. The coroner came to her house. I'm like, I don't believe it. And to be honest, I still don't believe it.
Yeah.
I know he's deceased, but it's just that the way everything was done, it's not right for nobody to treat a child like that, because he's human. He was loved, for sure, without a doubt. He was loved.
Now, when he was locked up, at some point he received a bond. Did he receive a bond?
Yeah, he did. He did receive a bond. His mom. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and why was he not bailed out?
Because they had a hold on him from another county.
Okay. Yeah.
So they did go up there. His family did go up there on several occasions. And I think Lakeisha, you can mute your microphone. It does have a lot of feedback.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, mute your. We can
Okay.
we need to mute you because there you go. Okay, go ahead.
His mother, Lakeisha, his aunts, and his grandmother went up there on several occasions from the first day that they found out that he was actually being held in jail on minor, I want to say minor offenses, nonviolent offenses, reckless driving, speeding, and evading police. He was being held on a $1,500 bond. His mom immediately got the bond money together, went up there to get him out on the first day. They denied him bond, or they denied him. They said they could not bail him out. There was a hold from another county, which was tied to some investigation. They would not give them any information as to what the hold was. So his parent, they tried everything they could. They had the money and they attempted to get him out. The jail refused to allow him to be released to his family.
What were the original charges?
It was failing to stop for blue lights in South Carolina, which is essentially evading here in Texas, reckless driving, and I believe the last one was speeding.
Failing to stop for a blue light. What is that?
It's essentially evading police in a motor vehicle.
So police are the blue lights in South Carolina.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like to me, now I could be wrong, but I'm just saying from what I know, the way I see a lot of these police departments operate and the way a lot of cops operate, they don't like it when you evade arrest or when you resist or anything like that. They take it personal and they feel like at that point they can become the judge, the jury, the executioner, and by the way, a peace officer on the side. So to me, it sounds like that they taxed LaSawn for being charged with evading arrest. Not even saying he actually did it. I'm just saying that if that's the charge, when you go into those jail cells and they first thing they all want to know, what you in here for? Oh, evading arrest? Oh, you trying to make our job harder. We got to tax you. So I see that happening a whole lot with police officers. You run, you might get shot in the back. You might get shot in the head. You might get beat damn near to an inch of your life. I see those type of things happening a lot. And Ardia, you told me that these uncivilized mutts in South Carolina built the jailhouse on top of a swamp.
Absolutely. So the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center was literally built on top of a swamp. They've been infested by rats. That we've received several amounts of information that have come into our law office from people who have worked in the jail, who still work in the jail, who said that the jail is infested with rats, that a lot of the inmates have to fight the rats off to keep them from getting their food. The rats are then being followed into the jail by rattlesnakes that are looking for the rats. So we have a jail that's infested with rats and rattlesnakes. And unfortunately, in this situation, we have a young man, 27 years old, who hadn't been in much trouble at all in his lifetime. Good kid, looking forward to his future, had a family who loved him, was, put in a jail cell by himself with nothing but a concrete bed, left in there butt naked, hadn't been checked on for hours, even when he was deceased, and had been bitten over the course of days by rats. Had been bitten and scratched by rats on several occasions during his 13-day stay within the jail that ended up being essentially his death sentence.
Wow. So what is the basis of the lawsuit?
So the basis of our lawsuit is it's a federal lawsuit, and it's going to be based on deliberate indifference, which is higher than negligence. For anybody that's not an attorney, negligence is something where you should have known, a reasonable person would have known, but because of your failure, not intentional, but something that was a failure, you negligently turned to the left and hit the car in front of you. That's negligence. And it's not rising to the level of intentional, where you're saying, hey, you did this, because the burden to prove that is so high. We're saying it's right in the middle. You had a conscious disregard for human life in that situation.
Yeah. See, the burden is difficult for them, y'all. See, I gotta say it, man. The burden is difficult for them when it comes to proving something against them. But if it's you, me, or he or she, oh, we're going to jail automatically. You treat a dog that way, you going to jail, man. You finna go to jail. You getting prosecuted. Why is it that it's so hard and we put ourselves in these positions as citizens in America to allow these people to have this kind of power where they can almost be untouchable? Like, why is it's so hard for them to be prosecuted? Like, oh, it's not intentional. In this case, it's not intentional, but it was negligent. But in our cases, any one of our cases, it would be definitely intentional. Why is it so hard to prosecute these type of people who have sworn to uphold the law?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a system of people who are so intertwined in those systems, right? It's so systemic, it's so far reaching. Even in this instance, we have jailers who are married to the nurses who are part of this, who know the congressional, who know the state representatives, who know the county council members, which I think it makes complete sense that John Matthews and Lakeisha reached out to me all the way in the state of Texas, rather than initially just going to an attorney right there in South Carolina. A lot of times to bring more attention to something that has systemically been going wrong for decades. I mean, this detention center has had civilians working at its front desk. I mean, they are so understaffed. They literally have people off the street working at the front desk in that jail.
What's the percentage of understaffed?
They, as far as we know, the numbers, they have 141 out of 264 positions that haven't been filled in the last few years.
Okay, so wow. So we're talking like 40, basically about 40% understaffed.
Correct. And more than 600 inmates are being housed there. So, I mean, you do the numbers. If you have more than 600 inmates, which are people, again, who have not been convicted of any crimes yet, are being housed in a facility with less than 200 people working on staff. I mean, this was in the making. This was in the works. This unfortunate incident that occurred to LaSawn Butler.
Mm-hmm. So I looked up Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center. Very difficult to find something on the person himself. But the detention center, if you go to the website, it reads, the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center is an essential part of the criminal justice system in Richmond County, South Carolina. As such, the detention center is committed to providing its users and citizens of Richmond County with quality and efficient service. Quality and efficient service. Whoever wrote that needs to be locked up for a bold-faced lie. Who told them that they can get away with this, man? How do these people, you know what, I was about to ask you, how do these people sleep? But I already know. They sleep upside down. Because you got to be inhuman. You can't be a human being to behave like this. And who's responsible for holding these people accountable?
And we are going to hold each and every one of them individually and as a system and a county as responsible for the failures, for the gross failure, for the inhumane treatment of LaSawn Butler, for the slave-like quarters that many of our Black men are being held in Richland County, South Carolina, in the slave quarters that LaSawn was being held in. So we will be looking directly at who's heading the jail, at the assistant director of the jail, who specifically spoke with the family and told them, hey, LaSawn's fine. He's fine. He's responding, when he knew that was a lie. That was a bold-faced lie. John,
did you or Lakeisha get a chance to see LaSawn while he was locked up?
No, we didn't, because they refused visit pretty much. They say we wasn't able to see him. Matter of fact, he never even made a phone call. He never was able to.
Oh, wow. See, that's what I mean. That's intentional.
They refused my son phone calls. The only way I had information with him being there is because we had made phone calls. And by the time they let me know where he was there, I was there at Alvin S. Glenn asking questions. I couldn't get no cooperation at all. I talked with the director and he assured me he was going to make arrangements for me to see my son and talk to my son, and none of that happened. And every time I went there, it was always an excuse.
How long was he there?
He got there on the 31st, January 31st. He got there then,
Oh, he was there.
and he was there up until the 12th of February.
And
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, February 12th.
Yes.
Mhm.
So when you got the call, did you go to the jail did you guys go to the jail at any point after you got the call that he was deceased?
No.
No,
And
No.
you've been in communication. What was the DA's tone when you talked to the DA? I'm assuming you talked to the DA at least, right?
no,
We haven't spoke to no one.
Wait a minute, man. You saying y'all ain't even spoke with the DA yet? You mean the DA hasn't had the decency to pick up the phone and call you guys and say, at the minimum, I'm sorry for your loss?
no. The only thing those people at Avernus Glen said to come in and get his belongings. That's it. Nothing else.
Boy, man. They're some of the worst, man. This place needs to be shut down. This place needs to be shut down. Every one of those inmates need to be removed to a different facility. I don't give a damn if you got to take them to a different county. They need to be removed from that facility, because guess what? That facility is more dangerous than the streets.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm hearing. Everything that I'm hearing is saying that this damn near sounds like Guantanamo Bay. You know, it's like the people that was being tortured was treated better than that.
And even here, Willie, there's another a former inmate, Jacques Simmons. To this day, he died in Alvin Glen Detention Center, and still no charges have been pressed whatsoever by the DA. And you know, this is a national crisis. This isn't just something, a small incident that occurred in South Carolina. This is a huge event. This is someone's son. This is someone's nephew, grandson. We had a young lady of the age 23 out of, I believe she was in an Indiana jail not too long ago, died of the same exact thing for 16 hours, cried for help, was in jail for nonviolent offenses, same thing, evading police. And for 16 hours, they let this young woman call for help over the intercom. They have the recording, calling for help. They finally sent her out. 16 hours later, she died within 2 hours. So, I mean, this is something that goes on here in Houston, Harris County, the fourth largest county in the county.
Right. That's right.
It happens here. It happens in Richland County, South Carolina. It's happening in Indiana. It's happening all over the world, all over the country. In the United States, we house 5% of the world's population, but we have 25% of the world's incarceration rate. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's because they're treating their citizens like a lick. They look at us like a lick, like, oh, how can we get paid off of them? We're the underlings, we're their servants, the peasants, and they sit up on their perch, like looking down, like, how can you serve me? That's what's going on. And these police officers, they're not excused, because before he could even get to the jail, he had to be arrested. They had to say, okay, we're going to arrest you. We feel like we're going to take you in on these particular charges or whatever. Then once you get in there, okay, it's pretty much the same thing, because they're all in the same gang. And I'm talking about from the police officers to the people that do intake, to the judge, to the prosecutor, to the DA, to the clerk.
And let's be honest, it starts with the DA. And let me correct something. Jacques Simmons actually died here in Houston. And our, what I can say is lackluster. That's the nicest word I can use for our district attorney, who's, in my opinion, pathetic. We have a district attorney, Kim Ogg, who refused to bring any charges to this day for that young man's death. And we have nothing but black bodies equaling money in this jail system. We have his family, Lasan Butler's family went up there to get him out of there. This is something, again, nonviolent offenses for something he wouldn't have gotten more than a year in jail for, ultimately handed a death sentence. I mean, what could motivate you to want to even keep him in there? And as far as the information we've gotten, he was actually housed in the shower for 24 hours just so they can find space to stick him in solitary confinement. So my thing is, it's money equaling black bodies in jail. which is motivating these systems, which is, causing these district attorneys across the country to continue sweeping these things under the rug. Yeah. Because no charges have been brought in this case, and no charges have been brought here in Harris County either.
See, that's why I couldn't be a DA, man. See, I'm going in, I'm bucking the system. I'm coming through with 20 security guards, because I know y'all gonna try to get me, because I'm not gonna play the game. I mean, I'm not gonna handle, it don't matter what race you is either for me. I'm not gonna treat a human being that way. I'm not gonna do human beings that way. That's cold-blooded, man. Every last one, every single person that was involved, that worked the shift at that county jail while LaSawn was locked up, every last one of them need to be arrested and charged. Nobody should be exempt from getting their head busted in this one. All of them.
Amen.
The whole city of Columbia, South Carolina, needs to be on trial. This is a damn travesty, man. This is just cold blood. And in fact, the FBI, wait a minute, is the FBI involved in this?
So we have reached out to the FBI. We have sent the correspondence to the FBI notifying them. I know they had handled a small investigation at one point. Nothing that was serious enough to actually shut down this jail. Again, like you said earlier, this is a jail that should have been shut down a long time ago. These issues are nothing new. The county council was aware of it. There's a jail section that's supposedly supposed to be over making these changes to the jail. Nothing's been done. We have, again, we had the director of the jail. We have the assistant director of the jail. And all of these people will be held accountable. Every last person who was on shift the night that LaSawn passed away, who was on shift the morning of when he was found. And again, our information shows us that he was actually laying there for hours, deceased and alone in his jail cell.
Yeah, in my opinion, they was trying to just make sure it was done. The job was done. Because I just feel like it's no way that you don't know that those conditions exist in the first place. And there's no way that he's in that long and he was experiencing that much pain and agony and punishment, and they did not know anything about it. They had a duty, they had a legal duty, and they had a legal duty, they had a human duty to get him some help, to get him out of that situation. And they failed to do that. That was intentional. In my opinion, that was intentional. Ain't no
Amen.
That's intentional. If you know you got damn rats and you got rattlesnakes crawling around your jail, and you know that people are, you got inmates telling you that they're being bitten by rats, you got a human duty to just say, you know what, man, we got to get him out of. Somebody got to have some courage. All of you workers, some of y'all probably listening to this show right now. You workers, if you work at a place, if you work at Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center, and you the one you ain't never hit an inmate, but you know what's going on, you familiar with these conditions, and you ain't said nothing about it, you're just as guilty. You know, I read about this woman who used to work there named Olivia Simmons. She was talking about a riot that took place back in September of last year. And she said she left. She had worked there for years, and she finally left because the conditions at that Richmond County was so deplorable that she couldn't do it anymore. She said that the conditions were deplorable for the inmates and the staff. However, she's just not speaking on it. Like, you know, in the last few months, she's just speaking on it. It's like, it's like so-called saying you're a good cop and you see what your fellow cops are doing and you're not saying anything about it. You ain't no better. You ain't like it. If you go to church, you ain't going to heaven. If you believe in heaven, your ass ain't going. You ain't getting in if you ain't taking action, because silence is complicity.
Oh, absolutely.
That's cold-blooded, man. That's cold, man. I don't appreciate that at all, man. I'm with the family all the way on this. Whatever y'all need me to do, I'm riding. Let me know. I'm riding. So where do we go from here, Adia?
So now, you know, if anybody out there is listening, you know, thank you for the outpouring of support to the family. You know, definitely prayers are warranted and necessary. And, you know, one of the things we're definitely asking for is continue calling my law office, contacting us. You can contact us by phone at 713-714-6519. Send an email to litigation@audiajones.com. If you know any information, if you were working on shift that night, we've had a number of people who, like I said, worked there during that shift and no longer work there, or even still work there. And we've been in touch with some of the families of inmates who have also sent correspondence to us, letting us know that they heard Lasan crying out for help for days at a time. He was crying out, telling the officers to get the rats off of him. He was crying out saying, you know, hey, come help me. So if you know anything, if you have any additional information, and like I said, every single person in that chain of command who worked there the night of, the day before, who was responsible in denying him his right to go out and get medical attention, for the nurses, doctors on duty who failed to give him medical attention, because not only is this inhumane what they did to Lasan, they, you know, it's something we see repeatedly where Black bodies are not even looked at as being human beings. So we can't even get to the inhumane part. We have to at first start being looked at as human beings, which we see many of our Black men, our Black women who are in the jail system aren't even looked at as human beings. If animals lived in conditions that the men and women and children live in at Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center, even places like Harris County Jail, like I said, with Alvin S. Glenn, they're defecating in their jail cells. They're defecating in styrofoam plates where they're given their food. They have to pee in the little systems that in the grates that are in their jail cell. Their water's being turned off. They're fighting rats. You know, animals. We would have organizations coming out of the woodworks to protest the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center. That place would have been shut down long ago. But we have another young Black man who becomes a statistic, who becomes a number. But if you know any information and you can give us any names, we have the names we need so far. But if you can give us any additional information, please reach out to our law office. You can send an email. You can call us. You can contact us on social media. We're on Instagram, AudiaJones_law. Any way you want to, please reach out to us and let us know the information that you have.
Yeah, I want to make a point before I go. You know why they treat animals better than they treat human beings? Because they're animals. They can relate to the animals. That's why. Only an animal would treat a human being like an animal. You understand what I'm saying? Animals don't know no different. You see? That's why. And I want to reiterate what you said about the people that stepping forward. For all of you that have stepped forward and spoke, I salute, because I know it takes courage, especially when you live in a small town. You know, where the judge is married to the DA and the police chief, you know, is married to the intaker, the bondsman, and everybody clicked up. I understand how that go. In these small towns, it's very easy for them to cover up and intimidate people. But I appreciate every single one of you guys out there that have stepped forward, and the ones who are going to step forward. I appreciate what you're doing on the ground, audience, and I appreciate the mother and the father, Lakeisha and John, for stepping up and making sure that your son's voice is heard through you. I appreciate you. I love you for that. And
thank you.
My deepest condolences. You know, I wish that I wouldn't have had to meet you guys under these circumstances. But look, it is what it is, and I'm here to ride for y'all. Whatever y'all need from me, just let me know I'm there. I'm in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right,
I
fam.
greatly appreciate that.
All right. Family, you know, this is one of those situations for me that, you know, like, I'm not going to apologize for being emotional about this, you know. I'm not going to apologize for, and I have anybody that think I lost my cool, I haven't. I ain't lost my cool. I'm still cool, you know, but I'm hot. I'm hot right now, you know, because if this could happen to Lasan, this could happen to anybody. And all of you little goody two shoes out there who sit up and like, well, you know, don't run from the police and you won't die in the jail cell, you know. Don't break the law and you won't get shot. Yeah. For all you little goody two shoes, let me tell y'all something. This could happen to anybody. The kid never had didn't have a criminal history. Come from a loving family, a supportive family. So some of y'all that talk like that, y'all don't come from a loving family, because if you had love in your heart, you wouldn't speak like that toward a human being. All right. So some of y'all just as worse as the people who was responsible for his death. And y'all don't get it until it happened to y'all. And I promise you, just keep waking up. If you think that Johnny Law won't touch you and you ain't did nothing wrong, you haven't done nothing egregious enough to end up dead in a jail cell, keep waking up. If it don't happen to you, it'll happen to one of your family members or one of your friends. I can guarantee you that, because these police officers are out of control. These people that run these jails and prisons, they're out of control, and they need to be brought to heel. There ain't enough people out there who got the courage to speak out against them and hold them accountable. Everybody afraid to lose their job, lose their position. They don't want to be ostracized. They want to make sure they get invited to the party. They don't want to cause no waves, you know. It's better in their mind to just be a sucker, be a chump, be a pushover, be somebody that nobody respects. How do you sleep at night? My bad, I already answered that question. I appreciate every one of you for joining. You know what? Let me get Audia back in right quick. Audia, you still there?
I'm here.
Is there a GoFundMe for the family for Lasan?
I don't know. I can find out that information. I'll share it with you so you can add it to the page if there is one.
Absolutely. If there's a GoFundMe, absolutely shoot it over to me, and I'll put it in the details.
Okay, absolutely.
Thank you again. Oh man, it's cold-blooded, fam. I'm hot about this one, man. I'm hot about this one. Fam, I'm gonna give a few shout outs. I'm gonna read a couple of you guys' comments and then I'm gonna shut it down. Michael Brown, I see you. Sean Lunatic, Raw Gold, Monica Smith. Because this is ridiculous. I've been in some nasty jails also. Yeah, they're very disrespectful. You know, they see people come in. When you go to jail, it's already a traumatic experience for most people, right? And, you know, you're just trying to get out of the situation and you're already messed all up. And usually going to jail also involves digging in your pockets. A lot of times people got to dig for money they don't really have. So it's already a traumatic experience. And when you get in that, some of these people in that, they laugh at your pain. They think it's funny. You know, they crack jokes at your expense. Some of these people really are animals, but they got the nerve to look down at the inmates when they're the ones need to be the inmate. Got animals judging human beings. Awakened One, what's up? Awoken One. Highly favored. Miss Tate. See, justice system. Who's that? Jeremiah Whitley. What's up, Jeremiah? That's a start, Charles. Says private jails need to be taken down. They need to be taken off the stock market, closed down. Yeah, that's a start. She too real. I don't need to be held responsible. Yeah. Yeah, let's see who steps up in South Carolina. Let's see who steps up in Columbia, South Carolina. Let's see who steps up. You know, like people like to brag about their city. They like to brag about where they're from and, you know, be proud and all that stuff. But let's see how proud they are about this situation. Let's see who's going to step up and demand justice for LaShawn Butler and the other two individuals that died just this year. We're not even talking about the death toll from last year. They already got three people in one jail who died in custody since January already. We just in March. Keep those doors open, and can you imagine, you know, what that death toll is going to look like? They're so used to being out of control and being so sloppy, being so irresponsible, being so incompetent, being so criminal-minded that they don't believe nothing's going to change. They don't believe they're going to be held accountable. They don't believe the FBI is going to come in and investigate. They don't believe that a senator, a representative, a congressperson is going to call them to task and say, yo, head's going to roll on this one. Y'all going to jail. They don't believe that's going to happen because they done gotten away with it so many times. They think this is academic. This ain't no big deal to them. That's what they're banking on. You know why they're banking on that? Because so many people in South Carolina, so many people in Columbia, South Carolina has either been complicit or just straight up cowards for so long. They ain't got the balls to hold them accountable. That's right, I said it. Yeah, they ain't got the balls to hold them accountable. Super Patriot, what's up? Sounds like, huh. Wow. You said a mouthful with that one. Sounds like death row. Worse than death row, fam. Even on death row, they at least front like they're trying to be a little humane by, you know, giving you a shot and making you fall asleep. Every last person that work at that detention center needs to be held accountable, because guess what? If you didn't, even if you wasn't on duty, you know about the conditions of that jail. If you work in that jail, you know the conditions of that jail, and you did nothing about it. You should be locked up. And every last one of y'all should go straight to hell if you believe in such a thing. Till next time, fam. I appreciate y'all. Wherever you are, enjoy the rest of your evening, morning, or afternoon. No more talk.